Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. We don't ignore the big topics in football, do we, on this channel? And that is why we were going to talk about Tonali and a potential big ban coming his way for the breaches of gambling in his time at AC Milan. We've spoken about the PGMOL, we've spoken about the Super League, we speak about a lot of things on here, and hopefully there's going to be some intelligent and mature comments about what you think about this scenario, because I've got to say from the off, I've heard that Tonali could get a 12-month ban. There's even been talk of a maximum three-year ban, and I've got a take on this, and I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, and I'll tell you why. And there'll be people straight away saying, "Well, you spoke about Tony getting a ban, and you didn't say that about that." But maybe Ivan Toney's ban was wrong as well, and maybe we thought that naively that was just a drop in the ocean, a rarity. But there's three players involved in it publicly in Italy at the moment. You've got Tonali, Zaniolo at Villa, and is it Faggiola at Juventus as well, who's had a 7-month ban. So look, we'll get into this. Of course, we do the big topics, and make sure you listen to the Goldbridge Saves Football podcast that's just come out today. A very big topic there, talking about the media agenda and how they need to stop painting football fans as toxic and negative when they have their own agendas and always have. And I basically take that apart on the podcast today, amongst other things. So give it a listen, links in the video description. But on this, let's tell the story of what of what's going on here. And I think that effectively Tonali has, in the last few days, admitted breaching the gambling rules whilst at AC Milan, and has apparently admitted betting on games involving AC Milan, although, and I've not read this definitively, either he wasn't playing in those games or he was only betting on AC Milan winning, so it's not match fixing, so like it's not, scoring an own goal or anything like that. Bottom line is that the rules are there that you can't do this. Ivan Toney, I saw his interview and he said, look, I did bet on things, but I didn't bet on things, I was betting on myself scoring or stuff like that. I wasn't betting on scoring own goals. So it's not match fixing in the sense that they're, and some people have been done for this before, where, you're betting on yellow cards in the game and you purposely get a yellow card. There's no indication that happened with Ivan Toney, and there's no indication that that's happened with Tonali. But my stance here is that Faggiola at Juventus apparently pleaded guilty, but also didn't bet on games he was playing in and has had a 7-month ban. So the feeling is that Tonali's will be at least 7 months and could be longer, which ends his season at Newcastle. And that opens up questions that people might want to get in the chat about where's the compensation for Newcastle, because he only signed for Newcastle a few months ago. Surely AC Milan had some indication that this was coming, and if they did, it's a bit like selling the car with an engine that's dodgy, isn't it? So we'll have to see if anything comes out of that. But ultimately, that's not really relevant as to what I want to talk about. I want to talk about a really good footballer, a young footballer, who is at Newcastle, and Newcastle are doing really well, and those things actually do matter. A young, talented footballer playing in the Premier League for Newcastle, an exciting journey that we want to see continue. And I don't personally think, and maybe I was wrong about the Ivan Toney thing, because when that came out, you're like, well, he's going to get a ban. He's going to get a ban. And I can't remember whether they said he deserves a ban, but he's going to get a ban. But now that he's had the ban, I've got to be honest, I found it really weird that Toney is fully fit, 27, 28, I can't remember what, really talented striker, and the absence of him has made me, we've seen Ollie Watkins, and you get the whole Watkins versus Toney debate, and I'm like, Toney's done it at Brentford. You could argue that Toney's better than Watkins, and then you think, well, he's not playing. And he's not playing because he's been banned from football for these betting charges. And if that's going to happen with Tonali, we're going to have the same thing again. And I'll bet you any money, which sounds odd, gambling, but I would say to you, I'll guarantee you that there's more Ivan Tonys out there and there's more Tonalis. They've just been caught. There'll be footballers out there who've been doing it. There'll be retired footballers that you hold up as amazing pundits on the TV or amazing players at your clubs of the past who've gambled and got away with it. Guarantee it. So actually, what are we doing here? and what is the outcome and what is the lesson. Because footballers, some footballers have very addictive personalities. They have a lot of money and they have a lot of spare time. You go training in the morning, and unless you've got a bit of brand work to do, which sometimes your manager doesn't want to do, you're back at home. You know, you might play a bit of FIFA. If you're on Ultimate Team, is that not gambling anyway? And you've got other things, you know, you've got time to fill. Golf, horse racing, whatever. Michael Owen loves horse racing. What's horse racing if it's not gambling? No, I'm not saying Michael Owen's a gambler, but I'm sure there's been stories about Michael Owen and gambling as well. It's pretty common in the footballing industry to gamble. And I'm not here to demonise gambling. I think that's a completely different chat I'd rather have on a Goldbridge podcast or something like that, because the answer in the world these days is cancel it. Cancel this, cancel that, cancel this. Oh, that joke was a bit fun. I didn't like that joke. Cancel the whole sitcom. Cancel this. That's not how you improve life. Some people gamble and can gamble and they enjoy it. You know, there's aspects of gambling that I've done in my life that I enjoyed, like, you know, playing with your mates at work and stuff like that. Fantasy Premier League isn't gambling because it doesn't involve money, but it does involve football. And, you know, a footballer doesn't win any money on Fantasy Premier League, but there are Premier League footballers who do Fantasy Premier League and put themselves in it, but it doesn't involve money. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't think the ban, I know I'm doing this in a very long way, but what I'm trying to say is I don't think banning them really does anything. If anything, banning Ivan Toney gives him more time. And if he was gambling because, you know, he had a bit of an addictive personality and he had time to spare, then he's got more time to spare now, and he probably still has, you know, an addictive personality. And I don't know Ivan Toney's situation. And the same for Tonali. At the end of the day, they're going to be scrutinised massively for the rest of their career. So it's very unlikely that they're going to gamble again, because if they get caught again, they'll probably get banned from football. I would rather see a situation, and there's an opportunity with Tonali, I would rather see a situation where obviously they need the help and the therapy if there's an addiction there. But what does banning them for 12 months or 7 months do? Have any games been disrupted illegally? Like, is there any results that you want to look at and go, that was because Tonali bet on that game? And if you can't find any evidence of that, it's not, to me, that's not that important. So what you're left with is a footballer betting on football, which they're not allowed to do, but taking 7 months or a year of their career away. I don't think that's the way to do it. I personally think these footballers earn very, very good money. Maybe instead of a 7-month ban, it's a £1 million fine that you pay off over the rest of your career. And obviously it depends on your earnings, because if you're a League 3 player, you're never going to play £1 million. But there has to be a punishment. But I would say a financial punishment is possibly best. Now, other people, look, I'm throwing this out as a debate point. I'm here for the comments. Some people in the chat will quite rightly say, but if you make them pay money from their wages, if they need to make that money up, they might gamble to make it up. You've got to deal with the gambling issue anyway. Like, if it's the same as saying, well, all right, don't fine them, ban them for a year. They're not playing football. They may not be getting paid their full wages. I guarantee you that Newcastle have something in their contract with Tonali that if he's on 200 grand a week and he gets suspended for breaching football rules, they don't have to pay him his wages, so he's going to lose money anyway. And therefore you could say, well, he might need to gamble to get that money back. So look, the gambling issue has to be dealt with therapy. Of course it does. But I don't think that banning him from football, or Ivan Toney or anybody else, and everything should be done on a case-by-case basis, because it's lazy just to say you've breached the rules and everyone gets a ban. But you know what? Would it not be a more mature, out-of-the-box thinking to? Because I don't think if Newcastle, if Ivan Toney played against Man United a couple of weeks ago against Brentford, and he'd scored a goal and we hadn't won the game, there might be some sour grapes that go, well, he should have had a ban, he shouldn't have been playing. But I don't really think there would. And if Tonali plays against United next, I think in December, and he shouldn't have been playing because he would have had a ban, I don't think I'd be there going, oh, it's because I just don't think it serves. I think it's a bit draconian. I don't think we need it. I don't think we need to ban them. I don't think that really is required, is my opinion. And if there is to be a ban, I don't think it needs to be 7 months. I think it could be a month, because ultimately, if you catch somebody who is gambling on games that they're involved in and they're influencing the result by scoring own goals or getting yellow cards or committing fouls, then yes, I think that's very, very serious. You're match fixing. But if you just have a gambling problem and you're gambling on games, and you can't change the outcome of those games, you're just gambling. That for me, that's very, very different, and it should be dealt with on a different. There was a snooker player a few years ago who got a massive ban because they literally were controlling the result of games, and that's completely different. That's match fixing. So I'd be very interested, but I just don't. I think, having witnessed what's happened with Ivan Toney, I think it's really sad that he's not playing football as one of the better strikers in the Premier League. I think with Tonali, he's a player I've always liked. Zaniolo at Villa looks really good as well. I just don't think I don't think anybody wins. The player certainly doesn't. The clubs don't. The fans don't. They just get this ban, and you go, well, at the end of the day, what's the outcome here? You've done something wrong, yes. Now you're not going to play football for 7 months. I don't. I think that's too much. I think that there is better ways of rehabilitation. And look, some crimes you go to prison for life, and that's the right choice. Some crimes, I think, is prison really the answer, because these people can probably be rehabilitated in a better way. And I think education's key as well. I think actually, from an education point of view, it's far better that people like Ivan Toney and Tonali get a big fine, a short ban, and then as part of that short ban, they commit to, awareness. They do interviews and stuff around awareness that, there will be other Tonalis out there, is what I'm saying, 100%. There'll be other footballers out there shitting themselves going, I've done that, and they might have used the mummy's credit card or something to avoid a pass, or a friend to put a bet on or something like that. This is more than Tonali and Ivan Toney. I mean, it's Zaniola and the other guy who's done a 7-month ban, and I think that by banning them, look, in the 1920s and the 1930s, prohibition, you couldn't drink. Everyone just went underground and carried on doing it. I think that didn't work. And I don't think that I think there's a problem here. And I think the way to deal with it is not to ban them. But I've gone on a little bit too long there, but I'd love to know your comments. Smash a like on the video and subscribe. Don't forget to check the podcast out. And I'd be very interested to see what your comments are on this. Because I just don't think banning them's the way. But look, let me know your thoughts.